And welcome to the Sports Show. Mike Max, Patrick Royce, Lou Nanny back in town, and Sid Hartman. Sydney, how are you?
I'm okay, I guess.
Well,
if you don't know, who does?
If you don't know, who does? Let's talk about the Twins' big picture here, as we have each and every week. But, you know, they show a little life once in a while, but that's to intercept a 5-game losing skid. Have you ever now in your career, do you remember a start to a season like this that left such little hope?
Well, I had Terry Ryan on the radio today, and he hasn't given up. He talked about how many, what they got, 125 games up to me, the one player that is really disappointing to me is Dozier. He started out like a house on fire last year, and then he went into a complete slump, and now he's back in that old slump he was last year. And then you got the great Joe Mauer. I know Ricey knows a lot more about baseball than I do, but the first time they played Baltimore, the first time they played Kansas City, the first time they played Cleveland and in Detroit, he hit. All of a sudden, they seem to find some answer.
It's hard to figure in a veteran, you know.
He's down to 266 now.
Yeah, those numbers are real average.
Identical to last year. He was good the first month, and then they hit the wall. And I don't think it's pitcher's adjustment. I think I don't think he's physically what he used to be, and he wears. You know, he starts wearing down. Last year he was. You know, he had a good first month, and it appeared he was getting the ball on the fat part of the bat more this year. But he's the same as last year. He is what he is. He's going to hit 265 and get on base some. He is what he is.
10 home runs, 12 home runs.
You know, this is the new reality. Everybody who expected Joe to pop up and hit 340 again, it's not happening.
It's going to happen. Louis, we were talking about this last week, and maybe in hockey terms, you get a similar experience. You know, you can bring people up, and sometimes people want to see the future, and they say season them, but it doesn't do you a lot of good to bring up people that obviously aren't ready.
Not at all.
How do you measure that? It doesn't do them a lot of good. That's what I mean.
Well, actually, when you're bringing people up, you should be bringing them up because they're ready to play and you think that they're going to help you.
But sometimes you're punishing somebody, aren't you, by sending them down, and then you just got to bring somebody up?
Well, I don't like that, sending people down just because you want to punish them.
Eddie Rosario got sent down because
I know that. I know that. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
But he was also hitting 200.
Yeah, but I'm not saying whether he was sent down for that or not, but to me it was just like I want to say it's 3 years ago they sent Scandella down like that.
Yeah.
After he played so well, and then he had 4 or 5 games that he wasn't as good. The rest of the defense weren't very good either. He was a young guy. They sent him down. That blows my mind. I just do not like that.
But here's the deal. Let me say this about him. I wouldn't call it punishment as much as you got to get your head back where the sun shines, you know. Don't you think that's it? I mean, he's playing like an idiot. So,
well, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, so what do you got to do?
But now question 2 is, what if nobody's earned the opportunity to come up to the big league?
Well, then you sign some guy who just got released by Cleveland and bring him up and give him a shot.
I'm sorry.
The thing is, when they won the World Series in 87 and 91, they brought up Herbeck, they brought up Puckett.
Well, they brought him up in 82.
They didn't produce
84.
right away, but they produced certainly better than these guys.
I would make a case that they showed more signs than what we're seeing right now.
Well, Herbeck said damn near won the Rookie of the Year in 82 with very little time, and Puck hit from the beginning. He got 4 hits the first game he ever played.
And Gaetti gave you some glimpses all the time.
Gaetti was a player, and you know, I mean, those guys were much more ready than this collection. Here's the big problem to me, though. You say, okay, get rid of some of these veterans. There's no market for Dozier. There's no market for Alaska. There's no market for these guys. You can't trade Dozier for nothing, but I would certainly like to see him move Dozier and play this Polanco kid at second base because I think he's ready to hit. But what do you do?
Okay.
What do you do if you can't get anything?
Yeah. Now, I've been told by people who know more about it than I that Sano is on the fringe of being a major problem. That there are people that want to send him down, and the only reason he's up is because he's part of the marketing package.
Can you send him down?
Yeah, you can send Sano down. That's no problem. You got options.
Plenty of options.
But that this problem is so pervasive that his work habits that they've tried at great length to bring people in to work with him, and he's not taking it in. He doesn't know what it means to be a professional. What would you do, Louis?
Well, it's a tough question. I don't know how bad he is at not working or how much they've worked with him. You hate to think that just by going down that all of a sudden something's going to click. I think maybe when you've got that kind of possibility of being a really good player,
So you've got
gotta
the
work
ability,
with him.
that's been
You got to work with him.
I'll tell you this: if you send Rosario down there and then Sano, you ought to give Mike Quaddy about $3 million a year as the manager down there instead of, if you want him to fix these guys that can't be fixed here.
The thing is, I never see a guy swinging such bad pitches as he swings. When he strikes out,
And I think the problem is they don't think he cares that much, or that he studies that and figures out why he did that.
it's just hard to understand. In fact, the whole team, they swing at bad pitches. They don't make those pitchers work like they should make them work. But I don't see where there's any hope for these guys. Here's another thing. They don't have a defensive outfield that's worth a darn. So those pitchers don't get the breaks they would get with a good outfield. If you have a good outfield that makes big catches,
Save some runs.
The pitchers work.
It was pretty good Saturday, but that's because you had two 30-year-olds playing. But I wrote that Sano column basically in the end of March, that the guy, instead of losing 15 pounds, had gained 15 pounds, and the blogosphere and all these people wanted to drag me through the streets for questioning his work ethic, but that's the deal. He just doesn't. All you had to know is that, well, the Twins were telling us that he was down in Florida taking fly balls every day. He was in Dominican hanging with his pals for a couple of weeks at a resort. So.
And I was told they've even assigned a mentor to him who finally said, I'm done. You guys figure it out, because I'm done trying to help.
One thing people forget or don't think about, but the mind is like the ability it's as much an asset or even more so than the ability to hit, the ability to run, the ability to play defense.
Tom Kelly's famous line, right? That mind's a dangerous thing.
It's something, boy, and that's the first thing they got to fix.
Do you believe in the psychology that teams need to be heavily invested in one way, shape, or form in psychology, whether it's psychologists or whatever? How do you go? Everybody knows how important it is, but do you believe that teams need to be heavily invested in trying to figure out these guys' character, intrinsic, all that stuff?
Well, I believe strongly in it, because I think we were the first ones to give those kind of tests to players, and I think that as we see everything evolve in sports, you're seeing massage therapists now on teams. You're seeing every kind of medical and physical kind of guy. So a psychologist or a sports psychologist would be a big plus as well.
Right, and then you just got to be careful that you don't overdo that part of it, right?
Exactly.
The psychology might have been Torrey Hunter last year.
Psychologist, yeah.
Yeah, he can't be everything.
But you're way overvaluing that.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if that's the whole story, but I go in the clubhouse after the game, and if a guy had a bad day, he's sitting talking to him. I think he had a big influence on some of these guys.
Well, you can say it's the only good year they've had in the last 6 was the year he was here, I guess. Take a break, come back.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. RSM. This is the power of being understood. This is RSM. BMW of Minnetonka. Choose from 60 certified pre-owned BMWs at BMW of Minnetonka. And Bobby and Steve's Auto World. Go to BobbyandStevesAutoWorld.com for huge savings on everything from convenience store items to everything under the hood of your car.
I'm molding.
I'm impressed.
Women want them.
You're terrible.
You have no idea.
Men want to be them.
You got looks and money.
What about you? You got most of your hair?
They're America's most wanted men.
Do you have any shame? No. Why?
2.5 Men.
2 episodes tomorrow starting at 9:30 on CW-23.
Drive a few miles to get 1,000,000 miles at Barnett, the only Twin Cities Kia dealer with the 1,000,000-mile warranty.
Yes, the only one.
And it's free.
Now at Barnett, get 2 payments on us, plus no payments till October, plus 0% financing, or lease an Optima for $169 a month with 0 down.
At Barnett, we go the extra 1,000,000 miles.
Barnett Kia, home of the 1,000,000-mile warranty. Shop online or learn more about the 1,000,000-mile warranty at barnettkia.com. Barnett.
An odometer under 15,000 miles and an up to 5-year, 75,000-mile warranty makes it elite. The way it does this makes it a BMW. Introducing BMW Certified Pre-Owned Elite.
Choose from 60 certified pre-owned BMWs at BMW of Minnetonka.
Looking for a nice, big, juicy rack of ribs?
Fabulous chops, huge steaks, and the Buddy Bowl? Then J.D. Hoyt's is the place for you. Hoyt's opened in 1983, and Mike Andrews and his partner John White have kept this Minnesota tradition at the top of the food chain. Managing owner Pat Montague gives us a tour.
At J.D. Hoyt's, enjoy a relaxed atmosphere, great food, friendly service, private dining room, second to none happy hour, just blocks from the new ballpark.
Located at 394 in North Washington. Locally owned, nationally known. Hoyt's.
J.D. Hoyt's downtown Minneapolis on your way to a ball game or anywhere else. J.D. Hoyt's Supper Club, say hi to Pat and the whole game. Welcome back to the sports show. It's a wonderful time of the year that we haven't experienced at this stage for some time in Minnesota, but that is the NBA and the NHL when they get to the conference final stage. Sid, what's your first click on the dial? Do you go NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs? What do you do?
I was going to bring something else up.
Oh, okay.
Look at the Yankees. They got the biggest payroll in baseball, and they're in last place in the Eastern Division. So how do you figure that out? Some of those guys that really produced last year aren't producing this year. The Angels, they're paying that first baseman.
Pujols, Trout, that whole gang, yep.
And he's not doing nothing.
Pujols is having a tough time.
Yep.
But look at the Yankees. Don't look now, but they're going to make the playoffs.
Once it's all said and done.
Well,
Sabathia looks like he's got a little something back again.
Well, if they're ahead after 6 innings, they win a game. So they're starting to play better now.
Louis, is this NHL playoffs played out like you like, and how far away are the Wild from being able to play in this round?
Well, I think it's a situation where any of these 4 teams can win, and I really am enjoying it. If I was to go out on a limb and pick a team to pick, I'd have to pick Pittsburgh, but I'm not so sure I'm picking right.
How did Tampa survive all that they went through this year and end up here?
Well, because those guys, first of all, their goaltender, Bishop, is terrific. And now the young kid's playing really well, too. But they got a lot of balance and offensive power up front. And the main thing right now is they're doing it without Stamkos. So now they're sitting there thinking, well, if we can do this well without Stamkos, and he doesn't take, they already offered him $8 million. And you know Toronto's going to give him 10. And if he doesn't take it, they probably won't give him 10 because they got to pay 6 restricted free agents they got. But the Wild got a couple players to go to get to where they are right now.
How about this Kessel kid? He's unbelievable.
He scores goals.
Kessel is done this every year. He's a tremendous, consistent goal scorer. You're going to get that from him all the time. He is what he is. And he's not going to be a leader in the clubhouse. He's not a great defensive player, but he is a guy that you can count on year in and year out to get you 30 goals.
How they get him?
They made a deal because, like Rutherford, the Pittsburgh general manager, said, he made the deal for him, and he says, why they always blame Kessel for Toronto's failings? 8 years he was there, 8 years he was the best player, year in and year out. and sometimes you look so much at the flaws and you forget about the positives that he's bringing you, and you make a mistake and get rid of him.
Patrick?
Well, yeah. I'm a Pittsburgh guy too. I want Tampa Bay to lose because they won't let people with Pittsburgh jerseys sit anywhere in the stadium. But that said, Tampa Bay's of the Southern franchises that the NHL started, and it was like the first one. They're a hockey town now. They are
well,
really
that
good.
owner's done it.
They're
Sounds
really
like gives
good
away 50 grand every game.
Well, Todd Lyawicki did it going in there.
Yeah, he got him
and
going.
now you got Steve Griggs, who was here. He's taking Lyawicki's place.
But they say Yzerman's really a good GM.
He is a good GM. And you know what I liked? I really liked the way he handled Drouin. Because when Drouin's agent started, and I told him, I saw him at the general manager meetings, I said, Steve, you did not only a great thing for the Tampa Bay Lightning, you did it for every team. Yeah. Every team watched what you did. And he didn't give in to that kid. That kid went home. He let him sit at home. He could sit forever. Then the kid came back and he went to the minors like he should have, played very well.
And now he's
a star.
Has Pittsburgh got great goaltending?
Yeah, they do. That's the big thing that no one's focusing on. Like Allen in the paper was talking about they should play Fleury more. Well, if you remember, Fleury won the cup with Pittsburgh, but after that, the next 4 or 5 playoffs he was in, he wasn't great. He was letting in too many soft goals. And now they got Murray. He's playing pretty well.
Who do you like in the NBA in the Final Four here?
I don't know. I'm not so sure Oklahoma State can win it.
Oklahoma State? Well, a lot of people don't think they can. A lot of people think Golden State.
I think they got a chance. I think, of course, the Golden State, yeah. Curry's team is favored.
Yeah.
But when that Durant is on and the other guy is on, they can beat anybody. Look what happened last night. How do you figure that one out?
Toronto?
There was no contest.
I think Cleveland mailed one in.
Yeah, I do too.
I think Cleveland will win it, but the great star from here got 3 points last night.
Yeah.
I think Cleveland's going to win it. I think Cleveland's going to win the title.
They've only lost one game in full playoffs.
I think they're going to win the title. I think that this Thunder Warriors thing is going to go on for a while, and Cleveland's going to win the next 2.
And rest?
Rest.
Were you surprised by the moves that Thibodeau made? I think a lot of us thought Bill Newton would be gone. I didn't know about Rob Babcock and the others.
I want to say a few words about Will.
We're going to save that for the end of the show, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so let's take a break, come back, stay with us on the Sports Show.
Change, Frank. Same time next week.
When it drives and looks like new, you'll want to treat it like new. Certified pre-owned by BMW.
Choose from 60 certified pre-owned BMWs at BMW of Minnetonka.
You're watching CW-23.
Welcome back to the Sports Show. Gophers kind of in play on the spring sports side of things. I want to send out a note, too, because Todd Oakes, one of the great guys, you know him well, in home hospice, the pitching coach, and the team went out and won the Big Ten title in baseball.
Pretty sad on that pitching coach. He had that thing licked twice, and now it's come back. He's got no chance. Yeah, John Anderson is one of the greatest guys ever had at the University of Minnesota. In fact, I thought he should be the leading candidate for the athletic director. Why they didn't consider him is beyond me. And it's kind of strange. He has a way of raising money that nobody else in that department.
But you never pushed him.
Huh?
You never pushed for him at the time.
Yeah.
Remember, you pushed for Beth Getz the whole time. That's probably why he didn't get in the race.
Yeah.
What's wrong with the guy they hired? They think we're in fine shape.
Yeah.
I mean, they did good. Yeah. They did good. Who's worried about it? John's happy. I was talking to John after. I was over there when they won it on Friday night, and they watched the video board, and the game ended, and that was kind of cool. And I always love talking to John because I want to see what monumental obstacles are in front of the team because I love John, but he's a martyr, right? But now he's got a nice facility. He raised the money. They got the batting cage. They had 1,700 people there. It was full. Everybody had a good time, but he told me the Vavra kid's probably not going to play. So
he's not getting back on. He's a good one.
But then today I saw that they were thinking about using him as a pinch hitter. So,
but
hey, it's fun. It's fun that baseball has been successful and the softball has been successful.
Women's softball.
Women's sports have been fantastic.
It's been unbelievable.
So you
done a great
have
job.
a chance to meet Coyle? Mark
Yes,
Coyle?
I had lunch with him.
And what did you think?
I think we're very lucky to have him. I'm very impressed by the individual. I think he's the type of guy that comes and says, this is where I want to be, and there's no other job that he really wants. He's not looking to be successful, to move somewhere else.
How's he going to handle the Richard Pitino stuff?
You know, there's some things that got to be handled, but not as many as you're making believe. You know, you guys get a little carried away in some of the stuff.
Well, the team's the worst it's ever been.
Yeah, that's what you got. Yeah, and hopefully, with the recruits he had, they're going to be a better team. And if they're a better team, the attendance is going to go up. But the other stuff that, you know, not all the stuff, that's the thing he's got to focus on. That's what Pitino's going to focus on, and hopefully he's successful.
They just lost the best, maybe the best kid in the state.
Reaver? No, the best kid in the state is Gary Trent Jr., but they're not going to get him either.
Huh?
The best kid in the state is Gary Trent Jr., but they're not going to get him either.
This kid's pretty good.
I saw him play several times. He's a really good player, and he'll do well at Wisconsin because he's that kind of player.
Apparently, they didn't even try and recruit him.
Not hard. They offered a scholarship late.
Why?
I don't know. Ask that question. Go talk to the basketball community because they've been asking these questions for a long time.
Where's this John kid from? They like him better, apparently.
Well, he's from Champlin, but he's a year younger. Yeah. And I watched him play just the other night. Oh! Don't worry, folks.
That's
we cleaned it up during
Got my pants.
Sid, go get some paper towels.
We'll get it.
Let's take a break. I guarantee we'll regroup. Sid will take care of it, and we'll be back after this in the sports.
Here's the thing.
If you guys could go on a free shopping spree anywhere, where would you go? I'd go to the grocery store. Pizza, ice cream. I'd go shop for clothes. You know where I go? I'd go to Ticket King. Ticket King! At Ticket King, you can buy great seats for the Vikings, the Wild, the Timberwolves, and of course the Twins. We love the Twins! Yep, this is where I go. Vikings, Twins, Wild, Timberwolves, Gophers, theater, and concerts too. For details, go to TicketKingOnline.com. Any ticket, anytime, anywhere. It's the real thing. It's Ticket King. Right, Dad?
Couldn't have said it any better myself.
That's for sure.
Take every step without hesitation. Anticipate your next move with certainty. Because our trusted advisors help you prepare for challenges specific to your business. Our focus is always on you, so your focus is always forward. Experience the power of being understood. RSM, Audit, Tax, and Consulting for the Middle Market.
You're watching CW-23.
Welcome back to the sports show. Wheelock Whitney. The name, people probably familiar with the name don't realize how active he was in sports. Who wants to start this one? Sid, you want to start Wheelock Whitney?
Well,
passed away
I
this
was
week at the age of
involved
89.
in all of those sports come to this town. The old timers, well, Wheelock Whitney was one of those greatest guys who was always there, contributed money. He was Mr. Perfect. I must have 25 letters in my house, and every time you met with him, he wrote you a letter. And he just was a super, super guy. You know, there's a bridge on Lindale and Hennepin where you go in there. He built that skyway in
honor of his bride,
because of his wife. He built that technical school. He did so many things for so many people, and never the most humble guy you ever win.
He was a Viking owner. He was all kinds of things.
Another guy, Glenn Nelson, was very active in the sports thing too, because she was active. And lose two guys like that in 1 week, boy, unbelievable.
Patrick?
You know what I'd forgotten until I read it, that in 1959, the Continental Baseball League was forming.
I didn't know anything about
the
this.
Continental Baseball League is forming, and Wheelock was granted the Minneapolis-St. Paul franchise, and that sort of led to expansion by the Major League Baseball.
If it wasn't for Wheelock,
because that would have been a different league.
Yeah, it was going to be an 8-team league that was in competition with Major League Baseball.
Were you in on that, Sid? That
if
Continental
it
League?
wasn't for Wheelock, Calvin moves.
Well, there were lots of people.
He was
Harvey McKay had a lot to do with that.
I give Harvey all the
keeping
credit.
him here.
Harvey McKay had a lot to do with that.
Huh?
Harvey McKay had a lot to do with that.
Harvey
He organized
McKay
it.
had nothing to do
He
with
did
it.
too. Louis Wheelock Whitney, you worked with him a lot.
You reeled him in
Sorry,
again,
it was too easy today.
Wheelock was one of our owners.
Yeah, the North Star.
Yeah,
Is that right? He had a cut of that too?
Yeah, he was one of the 10 owners. But if you know him, as Sid said, he was just a wonderful individual, a great supporter of all the sports. Not only owned part of the Vikings, but before he did, and the Twins, he was a first season ticket holder, and he went to so many games of football, hockey, and obviously the Twins. The guy was just a wonderful person, and he was a member of Augusta, which is very unique
Yes.
That's
for
right.
the state of Minnesota.
Yeah, that's right.
Is he the first guy to get you on Augusta?
No, Gordy Ritz was the first guy to get me on. Gordy was the other guy on
Gordy
the
was
team,
too.
yeah. But Gordy and Wheelock, they were two of the three. There was one other member of Augusta from Minnesota, a gentleman from Duluth.
Wheelock never seemed like he lost his temper. He was always
Never.
Was that the way he was always?
He was always like that. He was the most wonderful person. And he, as Sid says about his notes, every time he'd send you a Christmas card, there was always a note on it. He was an individual that really cared about people, enjoyed being with people.
You know what I liked about him? You could make jokes about. You could make jokes about Eugene McCarthy beating him 60 to 39%.
Yeah, can you imagine that? Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, he got hammered, but he ran for Senate in '64.
Yeah. And Perpich 82, right?
Yeah. You know, Goldwater was running, and it was a Democratic landslide. So, yeah.
Chris Carter had a terrible drinking problem.
Right.
And he took charge of him.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And straightened him out. And if he'd have been in town, Lou Holtz might have coached the Vikings.
What do you mean if he'd have been in town?
They were going to fire Green, and they couldn't get the votes. One vote.
He was out of town.
Oh, when they voted on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Wheelock and his wife Irene, his first wife Irene, were huge in the treatment community around here. The alcoholism and chemical dependency treatment, and had a whole lot to do with a lot of people getting sober.
Sidney, 30 seconds left. Look in that camera and give us your final thought.
I was sad about Wheelock Whitney, sad about Glenn Nelson. Great contributors, made this city what it is today. Thank you.
Sid Hartman. That's it. Back here next week, everybody. Thanks for watching the Sports Show.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. RSM. This is the power of being understood. This is RSM. BMW of Minnetonka. Choose from 60 certified pre-owned BMWs at BMW of Minnetonka. And Bobby and Steve's Auto World. Go to BobbyandStevesAutoWorld.com for huge savings on everything from convenience store items to everything under the hood of your car.